Welcome back everyone, John Panu here with another video. Today we have some exciting news for those of you guys who like to play charge units in Limbus Company. Currently right now, there are a lot of units in Limbus Company that has the charge mechanic that really suck. The only character that is good with charge is 3-star Don Quixote because she's the only character that can generate enough charge for herself. However, if we take a look at just briefly a few other characters, your 3-star Mersault W Corp, your 2-star W Corp Faust, and also your 3-star Ishmael. These are all units that use charge, but they kind of suck because they can't generate charge by themselves effectively. And as a result, even though their kits are fun and strong in theory, because they can't get enough charge count, they're not that good. But with this addition, we're gonna have a lot more support for it. There's also going to be a Faust Telepole Ego coming out, which might act the same as this skill, but for now only the Don Quixote one has dropped, so we will just dive into this and see how this will really be able to help those people who want to use units such as W Corp Faust, W Corp Mersault, or R Rabbit Ishmael, or R Corp Ishmael, who really want to use charge because the game doesn't have any good resource currently right now to build it. How this addition will really be able to allow you to truly build a comp around those characters. So, Telepole Don Quixote. Her skill, her ego skill, is Telepole on hit gain charge count, which is nice. It means if she hits someone, she'll gain charge count herself, but the biggest thing to note is heads hit gain give charge count to allies by envy resource. That's huge. Now hopefully this works the way I think it is. Let's hypothetically assume that this ego is going to require 3 envy minimum. So what that means is if you have 3 envy resource and you use that 3 envy resources for the ego, that means that 3 charge count should be given to all your teammates that have the ability to use charge, which also means in theory if I had 10 envy resources banked up, and if I use this ego, that means 10 charges will be given out to all my characters who can use charge. Hopefully that's how it works, because if not, this skill is going to suck, because if this skill works off of if I have only 3 ego or 3 envy available to use my ego, and what happens is if I use that 3 envy for my ego, that means I'm going to have 0 envy left over. If I have 0 envy left over, that means my heads hit give charge count to all my allies might be just giving 0 to all my allies, which sucks. So hopefully they code it where if I only have 3 envy to be able to use this ego, that 3 envy I use for the ego will still be transferred as charge count to my team. That's how I interpret the skill working. Project Moon has a way of coding things that baffle me sometimes, but you know, hopefully it works the way I think it does and not the way it could be. Now, for ego corrosion, kind of sucks. I don't know why you would want to use the ego corroded form, but it says on hit gain charge count and rupture. So you gain charge count, but you also rupture yourself, which sucks. But also it says heads hit give charge count, fragile, and rupture to all your allies, which is terrible. Rupture, or not rupture, but fragile is such a bad debuff on your team. It basically increases the amount of damage based by the 10% per stack on your whole team. So I don't see why you would ever want to use this in its ego corroded form, especially if you have fragile and rupture to yourself. Overall, I don't see why you would ever want to use ego corrosion for this skill. This feels really weird because it applies a really strong debuff to your team. And even when the game releases its ego break or ego break into the game, where you can get the plus sides of this ego without the negatives, I don't see why you would ever want to ego corrode, because you really only wanted to be using it for the first skill anyways. With that being said though, haphazard discharge, the passive that you get after using this ego, is actually very useful. At the start of the combat phase, a random ally with charge gains plus envy ABS divided by 2 charge count. I still don't know what ABS stands for. I'm guessing it's absolute resonance or something like that, but let's just assume it's resources, envy resources. So that just means if you had 4 envy stocked up, it'll be divided by 2, which means you'll have 2. So that means at the start of the combat, a unit or random unit will gain charge count of 2. If you only had 2 envy banked up, it'll divide it by 2, so you only gain 1 charge, which is still better than nothing. So this is actually very nice in the sense that if I wanted to, I could use Don Quixote with another charge character, or maybe I just use regular Don Quixote without using her 3-star version, so that base form Don Quixote won't have charge in her kit. That means if I pair her up with a unit, say for example 3-star Ishmael, if I pair her with a 3-star Ishmael and a few other units that can generate envy, then what I will do is I would, number 1, get this skill online as fast as possible, so that way I can gain the haphazard discharge passive ready. And after that, what I would then do is I would start spamming envy skills a ton, so that way at the start of the turn, what will happen is my Ishmael 3-star will be the only character who will be gaining charge count to her kit. And the reason why that's so important is because Ishmael's 3rd skill is by far her strongest skill, her Mind Whip, because at 10 charge, she'll be able to do a bajillion damage to enemies. It's a very, very strong skill, albeit it lacks the resources, which is the charge, in her own kit to be able to generate enough to be able to Mind Whip someone. But with this, it should be able to make it better. But even then though, I still believe that with the addition of the skill, those units are going to be better, but I don't think they're going to be good enough, because the time it takes for you to be able to get the skill online, it will take about 2 turns minimum, because most egos are, I wouldn't say most egos, but the cheapest egos is, it requires 4 affinities minimum to use your cheapest egos, and if this is a 6 affinity ego, it's going to take more. So minimum, it's going to take at least 1 turn with perfect RNG to get the right affinities to get the skill online. But on average, I would say by turn 2, turn 3, you'll have this skill available. That means at around turn 2, turn 3, then you'll be able to get the charge count to your teammate, as well as get the haphazard discharge passive going. From what it looks like, it really does seem like if you were to play with this ego, I do believe we're gonna have to wait until the Telepole Faust ego gets dropped, since there's going to be a Faust version of this ego dropping. I'm assuming it's going to do the same thing, and if that's the case, hopefully it'll make it so that it's easier for the charge units to be able to build up charge even faster, because then you'll have 2 egos which could potentially pump a ton of charges into your units. What I could see as a team comp that uses charge would be your W Corp Faust, your Heathcliff 3-star, your Mersault 3-star, your Ishmael 4-star, your Don Quixote 5-star, or not 5-star, 3-star, and that would essentially be your charge team, because those are the main characters that uses charge in their kit, and I think those are the only characters that use charge in their kit. But with the addition of the Telepole ego of Faust, or with Don Quixote and potentially Faust, well, Faust is coming, but hopefully it does the same thing, you'll be able to build a team comp around being able to really turbocharge your charge team comp. Because in reality, charge is actually decent, it's just that you can't gain enough charge for your team. Because if you take a look at Mersault's kit, for example, you need to spend 3 charge to inflict 2 slash fragility, and his skill 3 is you need to spend 2 charge to inflict 1 defense down. So as you can see, this is essentially needing 8 charges to get the maximum benefit of the skill, which is really strong if you can get it off. It's just not going to get it off usually because you're not building enough charges, because for example, this version of Mersault can only gain 3 charge on his first skill, and that's it. And his second skill requires 3 charge, and his third skill requires anywhere from 2 to 8 charge. So overall, I'm actually really looking forward to this change right here. The game hopefully is going to bring out more Telepole egos. I can really see the use of just Faust, like all the charge characters getting a Telepole ego, all the females at least. So what I would assume is that Ishmael might one day get a Telepole ego. Who knows? Maybe Heathcliff Mersault gets a Telepole Eagle. That would be interesting. But currently right now it's only the females, and it's only Faust and Don Quixote getting the Telepole Eagle. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Overall, really exciting update. Really looking forward to this Ego dropping. I don't know when it's dropping. I believe, if I take a look at the comments, it should say when it's dropping, but I don't know. It looks like it's dropping out on the March 23rd update. So that update's going to be coming out in 3 days. So, ooh, big updates coming out. Really looking forward to it. As usual, if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know down in the comment section down below. Are you guys looking forward to this? Because I am. But this is going to clash with, obviously, our Faust banner and our Heathcliff banner. So, ooh, this is going to be quite the wallet reduction for me. As usual, I stream on Twitch Monday to Friday during the evening, usually. And I post every day on YouTube. Also, join the Discord community. I have the link, everything down in the description down below. And yeah, John Panio signing out. See you guys later. Bye for now.